Hi, this is Natalie from BaggageReclaim.com. I get a lot of emails asking a question that pretty much goes along the lines of, why, when he knows that I'm crazy about him, did he call me if he doesn't want to get back together with me? Why, when he knows I'm in so much pain, is he calling, texting, emailing, instant messaging, whatever, when he doesn't want to get back together with me? I just don't understand. The very simple answer to that is, somebody getting back in touch with you doesn't actually have to be with the intention of getting back together with you. It is really, really important when it comes to dating and relationships to ensure that you separate your mentality from others. Because if you only think about things in the way that you see them, you're going to basically miss out on a lot of the dubious behavior that takes place that you should really be paying attention to. What you think, feel and want is not the same as what others think, feel and want. What you would do in a particular situation is not the same as what others would do in a particular situation. You may believe that if you broke up with somebody and you knew that they were crazy about you and you knew that they were in pain, I wouldn't be calling them up unless I had intentions of getting back together with them because I know what pain they're in. Well, that's you. But it's not whoever it is that got in touch with you knowing damn well that you were in pain. They might be calling because they want to say hello, but often it's really just to test the waters. You see, often people will turn around and say, I don't want to be in a relationship right now. It's not really good timing. Yeah, in another time, in another place, yeah, this could have worked out. I just don't want to be in a relationship. I'm not really a commitment sort of guy. I just want to kind of have fun. Yeah, I could see us together maybe one day, just not now. And then a week, a few weeks, maybe a few months go by and they get back in touch. Now, in our mind, we think, well, he must have changed his mind. He knows what he said to me. So if he's getting back in touch, then it must mean that he is ready to commit now, or it is the right timing, because surely somebody wouldn't get in touch if they know full well that nothing has changed. Well, actually, what it's called is testing the waters. You see, in their mind, they're thinking, well, you know exactly who they are and how they act. So on the basis of that, if you're prepared to accept their contact and potentially get involved with them, then they decide that you are getting involved on their terms because they do everything on their terms, which is why it's really, really important to read the small print. Any assumptions that you are making, it's best to make those assumptions based on the general character of the person. So if you know that this guy has a habit of getting in touch, really just to kind of, get an ego stroke and get some confirmation that you're still interested in him or that you still kind of jump out of your seat whenever he calls. If you know that he does that, then that's the very likely reason why he's calling. That hope for change is really, really misguided. It's the whole, I really, really hope that my cockroach has turned into a frog and has then turned into a prince. Really, the cockroach is still a cockroach or a frog is still a frog, but you're kind of hoping for a fairy tale here. You're hoping that he's going to make you the exception to his rule of behaving as he does. And, at the end of the day, it's really, really good to ask questions. And the reason why I say this is because a lot of women who get in touch with me about somebody who has basically attempted to make contact with them don't ask any questions. A very simple, why are you calling? What is it that you want? What do you mean that you want to meet up? What is it for? When put on the spot, most of these people will reveal that, well, it's just for a shag. It's just for a chat. It's just for an ego stroke. Well, they won't say it's an ego stroke, but, I just want to hang out. They're probably not going to turn around and say, I want to get back together, unless they're really, really duplicitous and are prepared to lie to that extent in order to get what they need from you. And the reason why people don't ask questions is because they're afraid of rocking the boat. They don't want to come across as needy or too intense or too confrontational or creating conflict or whatever you want to call it. They want to come across as self-assured and understanding. They want to come across as that girl that's not too eager. They want to come across like, I'm totally unfit. But at the end of the day, they end up making assumptions because they end up basically going blind into it. So he's thinking, like, we're hooking up, and she's thinking we're getting back together. The reality is that you're not. The reason why somebody calls you when they know how you feel is that, well, they don't really know how you feel, or if they do, they don't really care. They're only thinking about what they feel and what they want. And so they don't think to themselves, wow, Natalie's really, really been struggling to get over me. The last time I spoke with her, she was in so much pain. She broke down in tears and everything. Yeah, it probably wouldn't really be a good idea to give her a call because, she's probably, moving on with her life. He just thinks, I want to speak to Natalie. It's plain as simple as that. If there's, on a deeper level, he's probably thinking, she knows who I am at this stage. Surely she couldn't possibly go and be assuming that I actually want to be back together with her. But, people do. I had a woman get in touch with me and she said to me, my guy who I've been dating on and off for 15 years. 15 years dating. Who dates for 15 years? Anyway, the guy that she's been dating for 15 years got back in touch again. They'd been broken up, I think, for about a year or so. She assumed that because they were now broken up for the longest period of time that they had ever been broken up for in their 15 years, that it must mean that he's finally got himself together, that he's finally ready for a relationship, and that he's finally ready to do things on her terms, or at least on shared terms. No, he called up to see how she was doing, and he basically called up to see if he could kind of get together to start things back on the way things were. He made no illusions about it, and when she went crazy at him, literally clawing at him, going, I can't believe that you come back in to basically disrupt my life all over again. It's like, seriously, we've been doing it for 15 years. Why would you think that I'd be any different now? And that's really the truth of it. And so, whatever ideas you have, when somebody calls you up, whether that's because they catch you off guard or, I don't know, that they're calling, keep it real. A very, very overused phrase, keep it real, but you'd be surprised. It's actually really, really important to relationships. Don't get carried away. If you're one of those types of people that meets a guy and you're putting your names together by the end of the conversation, you're probably that type of person that builds sandcastles in the sky, and you know that those sandcastles come toppling down. And so, if you know this person pretty well and you have a history of getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, or them getting in touch with you and you getting the wrong idea about things, keep your feet firmly in reality. Ask questions. Don't allow yourself to get carried away. Even if he does make some vague statements, people who really do want to get back together with you and have good intentions towards you, don't make vague statements. The vague statement is a really, really clever tool used by people who know how to get what they want out of you by saying vague things that you latch onto and you see suddenly gold or platinum where there's actually copper. Then, when you question them about what they've said, they go, oh, you've totally blown that out of proportion. That's not what I meant. And for the truly, truly narcissistic out there, I actually had a reader email me and tell me about how her guy had actually emailed her and said that he really missed her and how he wanted to get back together with her. She responded to his email, and an hour later, he totally and utterly denied saying that he wanted to get back together, even though there was physical proof of it on the email that he had sent. And so there are some really, really, obviously, bonkers people out there. And at the end of the day, when you find yourself in a situation where somebody has got back in touch with you, knowing that you are in pain, knowing that you are struggling with the end of the relationship or getting over them, and that they do it anyway, I would take it as a pretty strong indicator that this person is incapable of being empathetic towards you. Empathy is something that is required in relationships. You need to be able to put each other in one another's shoes. You need to be able to consider the other person's feelings. So if that person is so short-sighted and so self-absorbed that they don't recognize that getting in touch with you, knowing damn well that you're struggling with the end of the relationship, is a bad idea, then they're not the person for you. You shouldn't have to sort of teach somebody how to be considerate about your feelings. And so rather than spend a lot of time agonizing about why they would get in touch, take it at the top line thing. They got in touch because they could. They got in touch for whatever their own reasons were, but whatever their reasons were, it wasn't the same as yours, and that's enough for you to know that it's time to move on.